Sir, thank you so much for speaking to me on India Global. Let me start by asking you, sir, in your assessment, has India achieved its objectives that it started out with which Operation Sindoor was launched?
Absolutely, Gaurie. The fact that we took our time, 14 days, but before delivering the military option, the Cabinet Committee for Security had already undertaken certain operations in the economic and other domains, which have played out very well. It gave a window of opportunity for the armed forces to prepare themselves, seek their targets, wargame their complete options, which they did. And subsequently, with a very effective deception plan, may I say, I think they took the Pakistan side completely by surprise. The fact that this time, after 6 years, the last strike was in 2019, Balakot, Jabba Top. After 6 years, they, instead of targeting one particular facility of the terrorists, that was in that case Jabba Top, this time they decided to go for 9, which is an exponential increase. And that itself was a strategic move to send home the message that we have the will, the capability, the technology to deliver and achieve what we wish in the context of these operations.
What about the expectation now that what will be Pakistan's response and what is it that we should now be prepared for?
See, Gaurie, already Pakistan's response has come in the form of a frustrated kind of a response which has taken place at the line of control. Ever since last night, I think even within half an hour of the strikes at the 9 locations, the shelling, rather the exchange of fire so far on the line of control, which had been restricted to small arms and flat trajectory weapons, has now risen to the level of artillery guns. And that is why we have suffered some heavy casualties on our side, because we do not ever target Pakistani villages on the other side. But here, Pakistan has deliberately chosen to target many of our civilian areas to try and force us to stop the exchange of fire with them. I'm sure in due course all that will change. But what is more dangerous is unlikely that Pakistan will choose to escalate this further through the conventional mode. They will seek some kind of a face-saving methodology, like launching a couple of maybe some bombings or somewhere in an inconsequential area, which will not really have any strategic impact. But that will be sufficient for them as a face saver. But what we have to be careful about is the possibility in the future, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months down the line, of another sub-convention. And that is what we have to be always concerned about, because Pakistan has got the Lashkar-e-Taiba, the Jaish-e-Mohammed, the deep state, and with a chief such as Asim Munir at the moment, anything of this kind is possible. The irrational acts that we have always sort of flagged Pakistan for is something which can become a reality. So we should be prepared for that, but Pakistan should also get the message very clearly that we have hit 9 objectives this time. This can go up exponentially.
Do you expect Pakistan to escalate this as someone who understands not just the region, but also the mindset of the enemy better than many?
See, Gaurie, when you rationally look at anything in military option, obviously Pakistan's capability is very restricted in terms of conventional. And they don't have the economy to back it either. A conventional can spiral off into a conventional conflict which is completely out of control. And that is something I'm sure that they would not want, because it is unwinnable for them. So they will restrict themselves purely to the sub-conventional, in which they have an advantage because they have the terrorists in their hands at the moment. We will have to continue our counterinsurgency and counter-terrorist operations as effectively. In fact, I would warn the whole of Northern Command that they should be completely prepared for a high-density infiltration season in the coming months.
That's a very important point you're making, sir, that we need to be very careful about more infiltration attempts by Pakistan going forward. Then let me ask you this in terms of, yes, from Pakistan's point of view, there are a couple of options that they would like to explore. But the message that India is sending is loud and clear. How do you now see Pakistan aid receiving this message, given the fact that it has limited options on the table? And also the larger objective, what I asked you at the beginning in terms of our message towards no tolerance when it comes to terrorism attacks against us. How do you see that being received?
Very important question that you've asked. Let's look at it differently. There's no doubt the fact that 9 objectives have been targeted, and this can go up to a larger number as we go along in the future. We have the wherewithal. We have acquired this technology in 2020, post the last Balakot attack which had taken place. A very important observation which I have is that you take the example of 3 of these strikes which have taken place in Punjab: Bahawalpur, Muridke and Sialkot. All 3 locations of the terrorist camps and terrorist facilities are near a major Pakistani formation headquarters. The facility in Bahawalpur, I am aware, is just about 8 to 10 kilometers from the Pakistan 31 Corps headquarters. In Sialkot, you also have a headquarters there which is nearly co-located, and Muridke is about 40 kilometers from Lahore, where the headquarters 4 Corps of the Pakistan Army exists. Obviously, India does not need much to tweak the capability to hit any of these headquarters if the need arises. And Pakistan should be fully aware of this, and this should be a clear message to them. They may have a thought that all this while India may not wish to strike conventionally, but now, when the temperatures have gone up to such an extent and Pakistan's behavior in terms of subconventional operations is concerned seems to show no difference and no change, obviously they should expect that if in the future there is such a strike again as what happened in Pahalgam, then the escalation ladder is entirely in the hands of India. The next rung could very well be the commencement of strikes on Pakistani conventional headquarters.
Absolutely, indeed. Thank you so much, General Hasnain, for joining me on the broadcast to really decode this and simplify for us to understand what should be India's next steps and also how the Pakistanis are seeing this particular situation.